bitches leave.
I don't know if you've noticed, but behind me there are a couple empty spaces on the shelf. It's been a really long time since I've just kind of shown you some of my old VHS. So let's start with the first one, Gone with the Wind. Now, I don't have any particular crazy attachment to this movie. It is a classic. It's okay, it's fine, it's a little long, but I wanted to go out and buy this immediately because this is something that people are like seeking to cancel. Why are they trying to cancel it? Because it takes place in the South during the time of slavery, and the slaves are portrayed as totally fine with what they're doing, and the characters who own the slaves are portrayed as these benevolent folks. Okay, I understand, but there is such a thing as like historical context. Also, you know, you do kind of ignore certain things, like the first African-American woman to ever win an Academy Award was in this movie. It's progress, dude. Progress is gradual. I'm sorry. Personally, I'll look at something that might have once been offensive, and if it's really offensive, I'll think to myself, well, it's a good thing that we've evolved beyond this now, isn't it? Film is not just entertainment, it's a documentation of history, and therefore shouldn't be forgotten. Whether you want to watch the movie and enjoy it, whether you want to be offended by it, it shouldn't go away just because it hurts your fifis. I found this at Goodwill, and this was something that I was actually actively looking for. Salem's Lot, the movie. I'm going to be real with you. I've never seen this before. I have also behind me, and I mean, I would imagine this is the superior version, but the completely uncut series that was made for television in 1979. This was cut down and released to theaters in, 1982, something like that. It went from like 3 hours and like 8 minutes long to like 1 hour and 51 minutes long. So they hacked more than a third out of it. I'm kind of curious to see how they threw it together. I feel like it might be a little bit choppy, but hey, it's something I've really wanted to see, and to my knowledge, I don't think, watch me be wrong about this, but I don't think that it's available on DVD or Blu-ray. I think you can only get the miniseries. So, one hell of a find. Recently, when sifting through my dad's old stuff, I happened upon this gem, Charlie Chaplin, The Great Dictator. This is one of the only films that he did that actually had sound. It's from 1940, I believe, when World War II was just kind of getting kicked off. America hadn't really quite gotten involved yet. Pearl Harbor hadn't happened, so we were kind of like, oh yeah, that's Europe's thing going on over there. And Charlie Chaplin made this movie. Actually, to some criticism, I believe. I think people were sort of like, well, you know, that's kind of offensive. You could offend the Germans, and he was like, I don't care. And lo and behold, he birthed a classic. This is really cool, and I actually found 2 copies of this. One I got for my brother, but Stephen King's The Stand, the complete miniseries that premiered in 1994, the 4 VHS tape set. Biggest bummer about it, honestly, it's sealed. Well, it's a double-edged sword. It's actually a really cool thing that it's sealed. I'm never going to take it out. It's in absolute utter mint condition, but I can never watch it. So I'll have to get a used copy at some point. Return of the Living Dead. The original. I don't typically like VHS that are in like clamshell cases like this, but Return of the Living Dead and like the Howling 2 and the Howling 3... The Howling 3, the Marsupials, which I also already have. The original editions of those VHS actually came with these covers. I remember this from Showtime Video, which was super cool. Guy wanted $5 for it at a flea market. I made the mistake of being like, dude, Return of the Living Dead, you know, the second I saw it, so the jig was up. I always liked the cover art for part 2, even though the movie wasn't as good, so that'll have to be a future find. Today, when I went to Goodwill, I picked up Jaws, the digitally remastered 2-tape set from I don't know when, but I'd imagine this is like one of the last versions of this they released on VHS. Now, I would just like to say, I'm very happy I found this. This is an amazing movie. Only communists don't like Jaws. But I do want to get the original edition because I admittedly... I do like the covers of the old films, and I do have Jaws 2 there. I want to get like all the old covers. Something I almost forgot about. Here is Jason Goes to Hell. This is the unrated version. It was this little mom and pop video store in a village in upstate New York. I don't even think it made it to the 2000s. I think it was like the late 90s. It went out of business. And this was the version that I rented and watched for the first time. And it's still got that little sticker on there. I mean, how cool is that? It's like I said, man, you know, going back to the whole Gone with the Wind thing, VHS film in general, it's all little pieces of history. That's all she wrote.